cancer,
measles, diabetes, AIDS, cancer.
Good evening and welcome to Doctor on Call here on K105 and also on GBN Television. And this evening our guest is Sonia Roberts, and she's an osteopath. And this evening's program will focus on back care as we observe Back Care Awareness Week. It's a pleasure to have you with us on Doctor on Call. Welcome, Sonia Roberts. Welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Okay. So it's Back Care Awareness Week, and exactly what's happening this week?
Okay, I don't think it's that well publicised in Grenada, but however, in the UK there's a lot happening. So what I thought I would do, I would just do just a special offer down at my clinic with regards to doing massage and focusing on back issues. People tend to have a lot of back issues, and you can start by just very basic things with a basic massage or just gentle exercise. So I just want to bring awareness to that by having a special offer, and obviously also come on this program and just bring awareness to how we can care for our backs.
You are an osteopath. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Can we begin with what exactly is osteopathy?
Okay. So osteopath means bone health, and it means basically that I am a massage therapist, a physiotherapist, and a chiropractor all rolled into one, with a little bit of a GP rolled in there as well, a general practitioner. And it's bringing all of these attributes together to create a medium for working on musculoskeletal issues. It's a 4-year program, which I studied in the UK, and it carries a degree with a master's at the end of it. So I've been an osteopath now since 2014.
So what is involved really in your practice, so we can understand exactly what it is that you do every day?
So basically, somebody will call up with an issue, and I normally invite them to come in to do an assessment. So what I normally do is assess, diagnose, and during that I can figure out whether it's something I can treat or whether it's something I need to refer to another specialist. So when somebody comes in, they normally give me their full case history, their age, the ailment they're having, how long they've had it, and any treatment they've sustained or any treatment that they've carried out thus far. I normally then ask them to get undressed down to their underwear so I can see their skeletal frame. And then I ask them to do a series of movements. That normally gives me an indication of whether they're slightly out of alignment, if it's a muscular issue. And based on the history that they've told me and the questions that I ask, I can normally find out if it's a pinched nerve, a neurological issue, or an internal issue. Once I'm quite confident in my diagnosis, I normally ask them to lie on the couch and I begin to do a series of testing, but also treating at the same time. So while I'm testing to see how the joints move, it also gives me more feedback and more information as to what's wrong, and I'm also rectifying the problem at the same time.
Okay. So people will generally come to you if they have back injuries, back pain, that sort of thing.
I think predominantly that's what people come to me for. However, osteopathy can treat a range of things like earache, Bell's palsy, pregnancy symptoms, arthritis. So it can start off with the back, but once they get in and we start talking about things, sometimes we find out that the problem is referring to the back, but not necessarily starting in the back.
So a visit to you can also mean follow-up visits, something like therapy?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the first one, you assess, diagnose, and you begin a treatment. But normally, the average person will probably come about 6 times, but everybody's completely different. Sometimes I can assume that somebody might come for several, and they can be better within 2 or 3. Sometimes it depends on the person, on their diet, on their lifestyle, on their posture at work, and how willing they are to get well. You know, sometimes people do come in with illnesses or aches and pains, but they're not willing to give up that job or that lifestyle, or you know, just putting more effort into maybe exercising, dieting. So it really depends on the individual.
Okay. If we can understand now, maybe you can help us to understand the structure of the back. We're talking about muscles and bones, but I'm sure in your field it's more complicated than that. So, can we talk a little bit? Can you tell us a little bit about the structure of the back itself?
Okay, so you start off with the vertebrae, and then you have number 1 to 7 in the neck. There are several vertebrae. Then you have 8 to 12. That's the mid back. And then the lumbar spine, you have number 1 down to S2, S3, which goes right down into your sacrum. So there's a series of bones, but they all have different shapes and different functions. So the function of your neck goes with the shape of the bones, and then the function of your thoracic spine, which would be from the back of your neck down to your lower back. That's your thoracic spine. They have a different shape, and again, they have a different function. And then your lumbar spine, they have the biggest and the widest bones. And again, they have different functions and different needs. So depending on how they're aligned, you might find that if the lower lumbar spine, like if you have a job that sits all day and you're compressing the lumbar spine a lot, you will find that you'll get pain into the lumbar spine with compression, which might radiate into your bottom, your legs, down to your toes. That's like a form of sciatica. Sometimes if you're hunched over your desk, you might find that you get a lot of pain into the neck because your vertebrae, again, are being compressed because they're not in the right position. And then you might find tingling into your fingers or headaches going up into your head. So structure governs function. So depending on the structure of the body, it determines the function of the body. And if the structure has been, for some reason, taken out of its context, that's when you end up with an issue.
And the structure can, posture can depend, can have an effect on the structure and the effects that you have.
Definitely. I'd say 90% of the issues will come from posture. Poor posture, and it starts off in childhood. Especially in this day and age, it's a lot worse because most of the children have a tablet or a telephone and a mobile phone, and their heads are down and they're constantly just in that one position, stressing out the muscles, causing them to constrict, and also putting too much pressure on 2 or 3 particular vertebrae in the neck. So it starts from that age, and then as you get older, you start to you just start to rely on that posture because it's easier to sit. If you've always been slouching, it feels so much easier to slouch. When you ask a child to sit upright, or even an adult, it will feel uncomfortable because muscles that they haven't really used before start to tire and fatigue, and it feels very uncomfortable. So it's always easier to go back into that slouch, poor posture, and then just precipitating the problem. The problem just continues to get worse.
Because children are growing, can that cause some deformity? If they are always hunched over, looking at tablets, for example, or their phones or other gadgets, can that cause deformity?
Yeah, I wouldn't say deformity as such, but occasionally, I think sometimes people have different types of ligaments. There's 3 types of ligaments, and these ligaments are supposed to hold your vertebrae in the correct place. Now, if you have a type 1, it's very soft, it's not as strong as it should be, and I think if you find you have that type of ligament, you tend to slouch more, and your body will just stay in that position, especially if you have weak muscles as well, because if the ligaments aren't that strong, then the muscles are supposed to be like a backup. So I'm finding that there can be children who will be prone to scoliosis, which is when the spine becomes curved because there's a weakness there to begin with, and they have fallen into a bad pattern. So I tend to advise most parents to allow their children to do either swimming or gymnastics or dance, because that way they can build a stronger structure around the spine.
Okay, very interesting. So let's go back a little bit to the back pains, and you spoke about tingling but what exactly is the pain that many will experience when you talk about back pain? What is it really? Muscle pain, muscle aches, bones pain deep in the bones within? What exactly are you talking about when you're referring to back pain?
Okay, so it can be any or all of the above. The majority of things I see tend to be muscular. Again, if the muscles get overtired, overstretched, just fatigued in general, you'll develop a posture of trying to avoid the pain. We call it an antalgic posture. So if, say, I'm used to sitting like this, but I have a lot of pain, I'll move to the side, I'll sit like this. Then what I will do then is start to stress the vertebrae. Some people do a lot of heavy lifting, but they don't use their knees. So they lift repeatedly, causing what we call a repetitive strain. And sometimes that can cause the vertebrae to slip out of alignment and compress a nerve. Also, there's inflammation. If the vertebrae is not in a good place, it can cause irritation and rub on the nerve or rub on the ligaments. Normally, electric shock type pain and tingling can be like a nerve pain. Inflammation or tightness and soreness can be muscular, and ligament pain can be like you feel a ligament pain whether you're sitting, whether you're standing. It tends to be a little bit more constant, but it can be different for different people. So depending on when they come in, I normally feel the heat of the body and I ask how they can grade the pain. I normally say between 1 and 10, and if 10 is excruciating, sometimes it's going to be a vertebrae that's compressing a nerve. If it's more like a 5 out of 10, but it feels better once you exercise and stretch, then I'm aware that it's more muscular. But then sometimes the pain is just excruciating, and no matter what they do, no matter what position they're in, that can be extremely painful. That can be something called osteophytes, which is over the years the bone has rubbed. The bones rub together and they cause little bone spurs, and they can be really, really difficult to treat, but also excruciatingly painful for the client. So it really depends on the nature of the injury, if they've had a fall before, or if it's just wear and tear as they've got older, that kind of thing.
So, what are some of the other risk factors that may contribute to back pain? You spoke about posture, and even lifting heavy stuff can cause back pain. What are some of the other risk factors?
I think falls. I think people really underestimate falls and car accidents as well. I've seen so many people who have had car accidents in the past, and they literally got out of the wreckage and went home, never saw a doctor, never did any form of therapy. I think when a problem comes on, it's probably okay to leave it a week or two, maybe not even two, about a week. And then if the problem isn't going away, I think people should seek immediate help. A lot of people I've seen have left it for years before getting help. And that's where the problem is, because it becomes layer upon layer of issues. And instead of it being the primary issue that I'm dealing with, I find that I'm dealing with a secondary or a tertiary issue, which can take months to get better.
Okay. And can age contribute to back pain and the discomfort?
Yeah, definitely wear and tear, especially in Grenada. People work so hard. There's a lot of people that do farming, a lot of women that do housekeeping, and it's the repetitive movement of lifting and carrying. And I think health and safety is not really a big issue in the work area compared to maybe Europe or the UK. So people do, heavy amounts of lifting, which is too much for the body. They do repetitive work, maybe 7 days a week, and they don't really understand that the body needs rest. A lot of people also work through pain, that you would never normally do. Coming from, again, the UK or Europe, there's certain times you would just be able to take that time off to allow the body to heal. But I'm seeing so many people that they don't really have a choice. They just have to work through that pain because maybe sick days are not available to them, or maybe it's a little bit of a stigmatism. People don't really want to take time off work. They feel that maybe they're being lazy. Another thing is not seeking attention, medical attention. A lot of people aren't aware that massages can help, that osteopathic treatments or chiropractic treatments can help. I think some people see it as a luxury and not necessarily a way of just taking care of the body. With any machinery, with a sewing machine, with a car, you'll take it in and get a service. With the body, it's the same. You don't have to wait to have an issue to take up some of these treatments. It's something you should be doing periodically. For some people, depending on their style of work, once a week. For some people, maybe once a quarter, and others maybe a couple of times a year. But it's something that should be done and not just wait for a problem to arise, because it's preventative as well as curative.
Okay, so work can affect the back and all the other daily activities and chores that you may engage in. How about sleep patterns and posture? And maybe the type of mattress or the bed that you sleep on, can that affect the back?
Oh, definitely. We normally advise people to change their mattresses every 8 years, which is not, it's still quite a long time, but I think it's very important. And I think a lot of people tend to have very soft mattresses where the back isn't able to really mold and it just kind of flops. So I tend to encourage people to sleep on their side with a pillow between their knees. But sleeping, again, is subjective. You can only really fall asleep how you feel comfortable. So even if I give advice and say, well, try to sleep on your side or with a pillow between your knees, if you're not comfortable, you just won't fall asleep. So that can be a bit tricky, definitely. But definitely having a good, firm mattress, not too firm and not too soft, somewhere in the middle, is advisable to have, and then changing your mattress every 8 years is advised.
Okay, so you say that when you start having discomfort in the back and maybe for a week or so, then you should be concerned and seek some professional help.
Definitely. I think people are leaving it far too long. Even if you just phone the office, you don't have to come in and say, well, this is the pain, this is what it feels like. I could even just give some exercises over the phone, because it could just be a case of just stretching the back out and allowing the muscles to relax. It doesn't have to be, treatment every time. Sometimes I'll come in, you can do an assessment, and it might not be anything at all. It could just be, sleeping bad that day, or maybe you did take a fall a couple of weeks ago and it's just healing. But sometimes it's good to put the body in a nice position so it heals correctly. So, it doesn't always have to be a series of therapy. It could just be one or two, or just some simple advice as using hot and cold treatment on the area to calm the area down.
Which is more common, you'd say, lower back pain or pain in the upper area of the back? In your practice, what you see?
I see a lot more of lower back pain, but again, I say that goes towards Grenada and just the fact that people do work so hard, and lifting and carrying. It's something most people have been doing since they were in childhood. And so as they get older, the problem has probably already been there from childhood, but it just gets increased with the daily activity that they have to endure. So definitely I see a lot of back pain.
Okay.
Lower back pain.
Okay. You said it's precautionary as well as preventative. What sort of advice would you give to people, when it comes to caring for the back?
I would say definitely exercise, and I'm not talking about going to the gym and throwing all the weights around. I mean, waking up in the morning, gently bending down to see if you can touch your toes, or lying on your back in the bed and bringing your knees to your chest just to feel the lower back open and the muscles stretch. Definitely doing gentle walking, and in general, when you have to lift anything, use your knees, bend, don't just lift straight up, which is what the majority of people do. I think diet is also very important. The more processed food you eat, the less the body can control, can take care of itself. And I find that people that eat a lot of processed food find when they get an injury to any part of the body, it takes so much longer to heal because the body has to deal with non-natural products and a lot of man-made products. So they're filled with a lot more lactic acid and inflammation. So instead of the back maybe healing in about 3 weeks, it takes about 12 weeks or more. And sometimes they just feel like the back is not getting better. But if they look at what they eat, less sugar, less oil, less dairy, they'll find that it can speed up any issues that you have and any injuries that you have. It can be speeded up by just looking at your diet and cleaning up your diet for the duration of you being unwell.
Okay, so that is very important in healing the back. So you spoke about things that we shouldn't have. What are some of the things that we should consume? Any supplements, vitamins, special foods?
I think the natural foods that we have here in Grenada are probably the best. As much green as possible, things like callaloo, definitely in abundance, pumpkin. Pretty much the local food is very good. I think that's probably the most important thing, and lots of water to flush the body. I think we tend to drink too much fruit juice and fizzy drinks, caffeine, but definitely, especially once someone has come in for a treatment, I always encourage them to flush. So that day, drink as much water as possible and make sure you urinate as much as possible as well, because that helps to get rid of the toxins.
And when you spoke about lifting heavy equipment or heavy loads, you find that sometimes you see, especially men, with special bands. They have bands across their waist. And so do you advise that? Is it a good practice to make sure that, that you're secure, the back area, the lower back area, before lifting heavy loads?
Yeah, I would advise it if that's their job, if that's their full-time job, definitely. But I'd also advise that they team up and maybe 2 people lift something. I think they're so used to, like I say, there's not so much the health and safety at work issues going on here. So people are doing more than their fair share, I think, sometimes. So I think sometimes if you have a lot of heavy lifting to do, if you could share the load with a work colleague, so the 2 of you lift something and it's not just you with the repetitive strain all the time, because I'm just seeing so many men, by the time they get to age 50, they have already had multiple discs out of place, disc herniations, and they're starting to get into the point where the discs are rubbing and they're getting osteophytes. Once you're in that situation, it's very difficult to heal and then get back to the same job. So if you take precautions leading up to that, you can prevent that by just being careful, from now, and not waiting for a disc to be herniated or an issue to come. Because by that time, I wouldn't say it's too late, but it's just, it's on a downward slope from then. It's very difficult to get better from that if you're staying in that job.
So apart from injuries on the job, can back pain indicate a serious condition?
Men in particular, when they come to me with back pain, I always like to find out what their prostate situation is, because the prostate can actually refer pain to the back. So they might be thinking it's back pain, but it could also be a prostate situation, that it's enlarged or there's some sort of infection. So I always do a very thorough case history with men, just to make sure that they have been taking care of that situation and that they know what how long ago their last prostate check was, especially if they're 40 and over. And I always make sure that they go and get that looked at, just in case it's not a back issue and it's a referral issue from another organ.
And what about women, if they have?
Well, with women, sometimes they can get, with women it's slightly different. Ovarian pain tends to be in the thighs, front of the thigh, or lower down into the abdomen. But also when women come in, it doesn't matter who comes in, women, children, men, I always make sure I know what's going on. I want to know what they're eating. I want to know what their work stress is, because sometimes if you have stress at work, you can find that your pain is elevated. Sometimes, yes, there is a problem within the joint or the body, but sometimes it's just stress that overwhelms the body and triggers pain, psychosomatic, we call it. So I like to know everything about that person, previous traumas, previous hospital visits, any operations they've had before, because it makes me look at everything. And then I do a differential diagnosis to find out, is it coming from the organ? Is it coming from, the shoulder? Is it coming from somewhere else? I always try to make sure I know the whole health. It's a very holistic approach, and I don't just think, okay, they've come in with a back problem, let me just focus on the back.
Okay, so it's interesting that you talk about stress, that can also cause back problem. Many would think it's just about physical injuries and so, but stress can actually cause back pain.
Yeah, it can do it. Stress can do a lot of damage to the body. Actually, it can constrict blood vessels. It can give you hypertension. A lot of people will come in with headaches, and while you're talking to them, they'll tell you how stressful their jobs are. Some people can have very emotional traumas in the past. And while you're working on the back, they will start to tell you about the emotional traumas they've been through. And they can tell you that the back pain started around about the time the trauma started. So it is very interesting how the body can almost protect you from things by locking stuff away in different parts of the body. That's why, again, it's really important to talk to the clients and find out everything that's going on in their life at that point in time.
Okay, so I have some back pain. Been experiencing it for a while. I come to see you, and you doing your examinations. You get some information from me. What happens then? Would I be X-rayed, and any other procedures done?
So first of all, I will get the full case history. I will have a look at the posture, how you move. There's a series of movements that I'll ask you to do. And then based on those movements, I can normally tell where the pain is coming from. Then I will assess you and I will start to work on you very, very cautiously. If I think you're safe to treat, I start working on you. If I think, however, that it warrants further investigation, I will ask you to go to somebody else, a specialist in that field, if we have them here, and possibly get an X-ray if I think it warrants that. I don't like to use too much X-rays because X-rays can be carcinogenic, it can cause cancer. Not to scare people, I'm just saying plenty, because sometimes people will get one all the time, every year for different things. So I try to figure out if it warrants an X-ray, and if it doesn't, I work very cautiously with you to see if some of the techniques I use will bring the pain down. Because normally I'll ask you on a scale of 1 to 10, how is the pain? And if you're telling me it's 10, but by the time I've done a little routine on you, it goes down to a 7, then I know we're in the right place and we're doing the right thing. And then I continue to get feedback from you. I normally give you some gentle exercises. So each time I see you, that number should be going down and until it's at least a 2 or a 0. But definitely I manipulate and I palpate and I feel with my hands. And there's been a couple of times people have come in and I've said no, to go straight to A&E or go straight to a doctor because I know it's beyond my remit.
Okay, I understand.
Yeah.
Just to remind our listeners and our viewers that it's Doctor on Call, and this evening our guest is Sonia Roberts, who is an osteopath. If you have questions, you can always call. The telephone number is 435-2041. And I believe that we have a caller on the line, so we'll go straight to the lines. Hello, good evening, and welcome to the program.
Good evening. Doc, nice to have you. Question. What is your recommendation for someone who drives as part of the day-to-day work and the use of their wallet in their back pocket? What is your advice on that? And in addition to that, what is your take on the yoga being used to alleviate back pain? Thank you.
Okay, so somebody who drives every day with a wallet in their back pocket, that's one of the most obvious things I see with men, because where their back pocket is, and they normally have their wallet, which is normally quite a sizable piece of equipment they've got there. It basically compresses the sciatic nerve. So where you sit just to the right, you have the sciatic nerve that runs through the sciatic foramen. And what they do day after day, sitting on the wallet, is they compress the sciatic nerve, which normally involves pain shooting down or tingling or numbness going down into the leg, probably into the toes. So I always advise not to have anything in the back pocket when you're driving or sitting. I always say to men, get a man bag, because I find that they stuff everything in their pockets and cause issues for themselves. I also advise a roll towel. I always say that if you can get a nice, like a beach towel, and you roll it into a thick sausage shape, and you put it into the curve of your lower back, as long as you're driving or sitting upright, you should be able to feel that towel pushed against your lower back. The minute you can't feel it, it's because you're either in a bad posture or you've just come out of your natural your natural position. So you're normally slouched over the steering wheel, or you're just too far away from the back of the chair. So always get the roll towel and put it so you can feel it. It also feels really comfortable to do that, and it will encourage your shoulders to sit upright as well. Because people that drive all day tend to get lower back and neck issues from being hunched over the wheel all day long.
Good evening and welcome to Doctor and Call.
Hello, good night. I would like to excuse me, find out where I can find the doctor, and if she want to give a fee or price fee for.
Sorry, I didn't hear the question.
He wanted to know where he can find you and get some more information.
I'm in Wester Hall, on the main road, very close to Ruby's gas station, and it's called Grenada's Osteopathic Clinic.
Okay. Good evening and welcome to Doctor and Call.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, go right ahead, caller.
Okay, I need some advice from the doctor. I hope she has a couple of minutes. I've been suffering with back pain for a number of years, dating back to like 1995. I can tell you the first accident I had, I fell off a chair and I landed directly on my hip. Some years after that, I had a vehicular accident, and what started happening with my back, I started having a lot of excruciating pain to the point where walking was hard, putting on your shoes, putting on your socks was hard. I've used Norflex, Cataflam, Motrin, all of that treatment. I have seen a chiropractor here that gave me some relief years ago. That was Dr. Hickman up on the street. And, he did tell me some vertebrae were out, gave me some stuff to do. But then he passed, and, the pain came back years after. Tell me, is there anything I can do to relieve that pain? I haven't had a flare-up or a really bad attack this year. I did have one late last year where in walking I would twist a bit. It's hard to stand straight.
Okay. It might be wise to get an alignment just to make sure things are in alignment, because you were out and he did, some manipulations for you. So it might be wise to get one or two and then to start a very gentle exercise regime. I'm not sure if you can swim, but swimming is one of the best ways of just strengthening the lower back muscles and the abdomen muscles as well, the stomach muscles as well. The stomach muscles act as a corset, and if the stomach muscles are strong, they normally help the lower back muscles as well. So I would definitely see if I could get a massage or an alignment, and then I would start with a very gentle exercise routine. I would also look to see if I'm slightly overweight, and if I was, I would aim to lose maybe 5 pounds just to take the pressure off the back if you were overweight.
Got you.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much, caller. I hope that was helpful. You can always call us. It's 435-2041. It is Doctor on Call, and we'll take this call just before the break. Hello, good evening, and welcome to the program.
Hello, good night.
Yes, go ahead.
Good night. I'd like to ask the doctor a question, please. Doc, what caused a person to, from my left shoulder to the right one, I find my back, crawling, from the left side to the left. I mean, I pick up a heavy load on the right hand, and on the left hand is the same thing. And, the body just feeling movement in the back of my shoulder, crawling up in the back of my shoulder, from the left shoulder to the right. Could you tell me something?
You said you feel crawling?
Excuse me?
Did you say it feels like something's crawling?
I was picking up something. Yes, I pick up something on the right hand. And then I just find the shoulder hurting me. Shoulder hurt is a few months now. I go to the doctor, but it's the same thing, But the crawling part of it, I find out is very funny. It's something really.
Okay, so anything like that, if it feels like there's crawling, pins and needles, tingling, it's called altered sensation.
Yes.
And that normally means that a nerve has been irritated or pinched, or there's some inflammation around that nerve that is giving you those sensations. So it might be wise to start off with a massage. And if the sensation doesn't change, I would try and see if an alignment would probably help. But it's probably worth starting with a massage just to see if those sensations will go away and you won't feel that sensation. It will also reduce the pain as well.
Okay.
Thank you, caller. Okay. Reminding you, listeners, that it is Doctor and Call, the Understanding Back Pain and Treatment with osteopath Sonia Roberts. Stay with us. We will return after the break.
Dutch Lady, we give you delicious and nutritious milk. We make sure our milk is filled with essential nutrients, calcium, vitamins, and protein. Dutch Lady gives everyone in the family a strong start to the day. Keep your family healthy and happy. Dutch Lady, building strong families since 1871.
Distributed by Hubbard's Agencies, Kirani James Boulevard, St. George's.
Once upon a time, we shopped at Wonderland, then Neverland. But we're all grown up now and no longer believe in fairy tales. So now we just shop at Shoes R Us. At Shoes R Us, we stock the latest in shoes, tops, and jeans for the fashion-conscious lady. We also carry colognes and much, much more. And for the modern trendy male, we have the latest brand-name shoes and sneakers, Converse, Reebok, Nike, K-Swiss, Puma, and much more. So check us out at our two convenient locations, Melville Street in St. George and Ben Jones Street in Granville. At Shoes R Us, we say, come shop with us.
At Communal, we are adapting to meet the changing needs of our shareholders and members. Times are changing, and with the changing times comes a whole new way to do business. Our parents may have done their banking a different way. Communal's state-of-the-art online banking and international debit card allows members to do business with great ease. It's like literally having a branch in your very own hands. Need a loan? Apply online from the comfort of your own home anywhere in the world, and your request will be dealt with remotely. Want to transfer between your accounts or another shareholder? No wait time for transactions to update. Voila! Who needs receipts when you can receive them via e-statements on your mobile device and save the environment? Not a Communal member? You can join our family today by applying online. At Communal, we see you working hard to ensure that you save, invest, and grow. Communal. Join us today. This will be the best financial decision you have ever made.
Ovio.com. Sale. All the outlets, hotspot outlets. You're going to go to the Carnage, the Grenville, or the Sutter's hotspot, and you get sales and deals on all items. You can get these on potato, you can get these on saltfish, onion, garlic, mackerel, toilet paper, and we even have the currants and the raisin at $10 per pound, lowest price island-wide. So people just come down or go up or go across, but just make sure and go to hotspots.
Dutch Lady, we give you delicious and nutritious milk. We make sure our milk is filled with essential nutrients, calcium, vitamins, and protein. Dutch Lady gives everyone in the family a strong start to the day. Keep your family healthy and happy. Dutch Lady, building strong families since 1871.
Distributed by Hubbard's Agencies, Kirani James Boulevard, St. George's.
Welcome back to Doctor and Call for this Tuesday, and we invite you to call in 435-2041. We're here this evening with Sonia Roberts, who is an osteopath, and we're talking about back care, back pain, and so far we've been talking about how to care for the back, some of the problems and some of the risk factors as it relates to back pain. So you can call in and ask a question, especially if you have back pain. We got a call on the line. Let's go to the call. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Doctor and Call. Good evening, you're live. Okay. Thought that we had a caller there, but no, it doesn't seem so. What exactly is involved in alignment, Sonia Roberts? If you can help us understand. When you say that you will do an alignment, what exactly is involved?
Assessment, when I look at the client, I normally make them do a series of movements, and then I will look at the tension of the skin, maybe the coloring of the skin, how they bend. Sometimes I'll ask someone to bend to touch their toes, but when they bend, they actually bend all the way to the left or to the right, and they're not central. And then I put my thumbs along the spine, and it normally tells me which vertebrae is slightly off center. Sometimes they could be side bent, sometimes they could be rotated. So what I normally tend to do first is a massage to relax the muscles and to stretch the ligaments. And then once I've done that, I will use a quick, it's called a high velocity thrust, where I do a quick movement along the spine, and sometimes you'll hear a crack or a little noise. I normally warn the patients because I say nothing's broken, nothing's damaged, because it sounds like something's been broken sometimes. And then once that's done, you know the vertebrae is back. But I normally, when I'm done, I make them stand up and I make them do the movement again. And normally they should be able to bend a lot easier, a lot lower, a lot less stiffness, and more central. So an alignment is just moving the vertebrae to, it's millimeters, it's not so huge. It sounds like it's a big deal because of the noise, but it's such a small movement, but it normally just helps align you, so all the vertebrae should move succinctly. Sometimes what will happen is one or two might move as a group, and that's where you'll get pain and a restriction of movement. So once you get what I call an alignment, each vertebrae should be able to move independently of each other. And that's what an alignment is basically. But I also make sure that the muscles are also free as well, because the muscles can get tight, they can get restricted, they can feel hard. So I tend to soften up the muscles first before I move the vertebrae.
And that process, can it be painful?
It can be, because it's drug-free. It can feel... Sometimes people describe it as a nice pain, like you know something good is happening. Sometimes it can be painful, but that's more because of the inflammation and the condition of the body. The more you have treatments, the easier it becomes and the less pain or stiffness you feel. So sometimes in the beginning, people will cry and they will say it's really uncomfortable. But fast forward 3 weeks later, they say, you're not pushing hard enough. You know, because they feel completely different. The body's relaxed, the tissues are relaxed, and they just feel so different. It actually becomes really nice and very comfortable. And people love it. They actually do love it, you know. But the first one's always very daunting because you're not sure what's going to happen. You're not sure. Sometimes you think there's going to be more pain than there is. And definitely the noise that comes up, some people, it just scares you. So there's all sorts of, misconceptions in the beginning, but towards the end, it's something that people actually really do enjoy, and they normally recommend friends and family members to come along and, and have a treatment as well.
Okay. We have another caller. Hello, good evening, and welcome to the program.
Hello, good evening, good night.
Hi, good night.
Yes, good night. I want to find out whether Yes, good night. Whether sacroiliitis can be cured, and if not, what interventive measures can be done for it.
Okay, thank you, caller.
Did you say sacroiliitis?
Yes, it sounded like that.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. I know if that's I'm not entirely sure I'm familiar with it, but the best thing to do would be to call the office, make an appointment, and let me see exactly what's going on. But I'm not. Can you tell me a little bit about the symptoms?
Okay, she's no longer on the line. We have another caller on, though. Maybe she can call us back. Good evening and welcome to Dr. and Cole.
Good night, Liz. Good night, Liz. Yeah. Good night, Doc. Now, I've been around for a while in any case, and I see people work on things in the past as tradesmen, doing construction work. They're using especially if you catch a beam on a building, they will fully bucket and mix oil right up to the rim, a bucket full right up to the rim, and you have to pass over to a man at a good height. How long will you do that without getting much of a problem? I've been on the Chinese and then doing some construction work, watching for the past how they work. They put in one spade and mix in a bucket and walk it, and one spade on each in a bucket and each, and both buckets. One spade and walk it easy. But we black people I find we work too hard, force and strenuous work, and we feel strong and damage ourselves and kill us and cut our life very short. Even women who wear high heel shoes. In any case, so I find there are a problem with women wearing high heel shoes and they have to go down heel, they have to go backward, and we watch them when they go down heel and then why the purpose of that? Wearing a heel shoes. I should have give a problem with the body movements in the case sometimes too.
All right, caller, thank you very much. That's a very interesting one there. High heels. Is that a problem? Can that cause back pain and injury?
High heels for sure, because if you look at how a woman's feet are situated and how she's tilted forward, and you look at her calf muscles, what she's doing is shortening her calf muscles. And that can be a problem, obviously, because as you start to shorten them, they become tighter. And then you have something called muscular chains. So if the calf muscle's tight, then the thigh is tight, the butt muscle gets tight, and then the lower back. So it can definitely cause problems. And also it changes your center of gravity and it actually throws you backwards. A survey was done, and the only people that should be wearing high heels apparently are pregnant women, because their center of gravity is already too far forward, and apparently it allows them to come backwards. But I mean, I don't think that survey was that great, and I wouldn't be advising any pregnant women to be wearing high heels, but definitely it can be an issue. I think what I'm seeing a lot of is people with the wrong type of shoes, either way too flat or way too high. Shoes should have some sort of a cushioning, especially for your arch, because feet aren't normally completely flat. So normally if they wear a really flat sandal, they break the arch, and that causes issues with the knees, the hips, and then onto the lower back. And again, if it's too high, it throws your center of gravity backwards, and it causes you to have issues later on in life, definitely with the knees and definitely with the lower back. So we should look at our footwear as well. I think things like shoal sandals, Clarks, and Birkenstocks are pretty good shoes to wear. We definitely can't, they're not readily available here, but I mean, if anyone can just get at least one pair, or just sneakers. Regular sneakers normally help when we're walking, but I know most people, women especially, love to wear high heels to go to work because it looks so awesome. But I guess it might be okay to wear it there, and then once you're there, slip into something that's a little bit more comfortable for the duration of the day. It is a common problem. I see a lot of people with the wrong footwear causing lower back issues and knee issues, definitely.
Okay, so you spoke about high heels. What about bags, though? Carrying bags, heavy bags on your shoulders. Women tend to do that a lot. You know, we go around.
Yeah.
Yes. Can that be a problem, too?
Yeah, definitely. Because you favour one side. So what happens is you normally have to hitch that side up to accommodate the weight to balance the other side. So you do find the average woman will have one shoulder that is slightly higher. I always tell women to use the satchels. So you have two handles, but the thing is they're not pretty. They're not aesthetically pleasing. So people tend to just wear, a handbag on one side. But the other way to do it is to get one with an extra long handle and wear it across the body. That way the body is a little bit more balanced, the center of gravity is a little bit lower down, and you don't get that inching up of the shoulder.
Okay. Let's go to the telephone line again. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Dr. and Cole.
Yes, good night. Good night. Dr. Roberts, I guess perhaps you may have a number in the telephone book so I could perhaps check for an appointment. But I've got a pinch now for a long time now, a number of years. And it's on my right side. And it generates a pain starting from my right hip down my right leg, and especially on the outer right of the lower right leg. I get to have a firm muscle running down the right leg there. Sometimes it's sort of hardened. I try to go, but when I walk, especially barefooted, it's like though I'm walking on needles, I can hardly walk up barefooted. And I try to go to the beach nearly every day, time permitting, and take a little swim all the time. I'm getting a little ease now and then, but it's real a pain, not in my neck, but a pain in the leg. I don't know what you can say to me, and I hope I'll be able to get you on the telephone so I can have an appointment to see you. Thank you.
Yeah, I definitely will forward my number to you. So you say you've had the pain for a number of years and it's given you like an altered sensation. So it feels like your foot, is very painful. To me, that sounds like it could be what I call an osteophyte, where already there's bone on bone and the nerve is probably being rubbed against. For you, I would definitely say before I see you, I probably would want to see an x-ray for you of the lower back and the hip, just to see exactly what's going on there. Because that sounds like quite an altered sensation that could be caused by something called an osteophyte. So for you, I would recommend getting an x-ray first, but still try to contact me. Is it okay to give my work number?
Okay, he's no longer on the line.
Okay.
Okay. 435-2041. Good evening and welcome to the program. Good evening, you're live on Dr. and Cole. Go right ahead, please.
Josam, this program is really... Hello?
Yes, you go right ahead, please.
This program is really, really good. And this lady, I want to compliment her because first time I just put on the television and first time I'm hearing about this services that ladies operating. The only thing that I would say to the lady is that you have so much people in Grenada, not only back. Only sorry for she's for back alone. You have a lot of people with arthritis. You have a lot of people with knee problem, with shoulder. And we need people like that with pain management. I have a lot of pain that people doing all kind of things. I'm wondering, I see she specializes in back pain alone. I don't know if she could have somebody come in or open in her clinic, get another doctor, or another person to come in and have clinic, join her clinic in relation to pain management and all the sufferers that people suffering. If you see people suffering with knee pain and joint pains and hip pains and shoulder, so I think that service is really needed, and I want to compliment her. First time I'm hearing about her, and I want people to use her services, but at this point I also take the opportunity to ask her if she could improve her services, bring in somebody with pain management and to be able to fix areas, other part of the body, which in terms of joints and so forth, I think that is really, really needed in Grenada. You'll get real business for that. So I compliment you, keep up the good works, and I hope Grenadians go to you, and I hope they find some comfort and some ease of pain, because trust me, you have a lot of people in Grenada with back and all sorts of other problems. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your call there. And I believe she's very correct about the pain and discomfort. She spoke about pain management, but I am sure that in your practice, I'm asking, how do you deal with that? What do you recommend when it comes to pain management?
It's the same kind of thing. When somebody comes in, you assess everything. Remember, I was telling you that sometimes it can be a pain referred from somewhere else, and definitely joint pain, can have tingling. It can have so many different things going on. But definitely, osteopathy is a multi-body system, and I work with arthritis, headaches, foot, ankle, hip, knees. What they call tennis elbow, golfer's elbow, postural problems in pregnancy. After the first trimester, I've worked with many women where the baby is just sitting maybe on the bladder or compressing a nerve, and after a treatment they feel so much better. So we do work with all the joints. We work with neck, the shoulders, headaches, earaches. There's so many other things. It's not just the back, but people do primarily come in for the back, but definitely other areas of the body, we can definitely work with that. I work with some massage therapists who are really good at pain management as well. Some people think it's just an alignment they need, but remember I told you a lot of the issues can be muscular. And there's some great massage therapists who can work with the body and reduce pain in people and just get the body moving. Pain is just stasis in the body. It's static. It means something isn't moving, something isn't flowing. If someone spends an hour on you massaging and stretching and, just generally just working on the tissues of the body to soften it, you will get better blood flow, you'll get better increased blood supply, and you will definitely leave there feeling so much better. I think one of the misconceptions about massage, again, is that it's pampering. It's not. It's actually helping inflammation to leave the body. So people should definitely try that. We offer that at the clinic. This month we have a special. You get 30% off if you book 3 massages. So definitely call the office and come and get some treatments. We call it holistic medical massage because that's what it is. It reduces back pain, it gets you more mobile. So many elderly people come in and they say, if only they knew about it years ago. It's something that they would have done from their youth coming up, but it's things that we only ever used to see in a hotel. We never used to realize it's something that can be used for medical purposes. But we're seeing more and more that people, they might start off with alignments, but then they go on to a massage to help just maintain their body on a month-to-month basis. And it's really, really helpful. It really does help.
Good evening. Okay, well, we had a caller there, but we lost the caller. So children can benefit from these massages as well?
Yeah, we have a number of children that come in. We tend to have children who are very sporty. Sometimes they just want to perform better, so they want their muscles to be relaxed. Sometimes they've sustained injuries, because children they fall as well, they have issues as well. But obviously, being children, they heal so much faster. And some just do it because they know it's good for them. I love the fact that when a young child comes in and they had a friend that came in and they have no issues, but they just want one to maintain the body and just to go out feeling a lot better. I get several children like that, and it encourages me to see that already they're learning how to take care of their bodies. But we definitely have children. I even work on newborn babies. Sometimes a baby might be premature. They might have had feeding issues. Maybe the mother was stressed during the pregnancy, so the baby's come into the world with issues. So I do something called sacral cranial therapy, and that is not massage and it's not aligning. It's basically just holding the baby in the areas of the central nervous system, which is the sacrum and the cranium. And I learn to feel the baby's rhythm, and I help align them in that manner. It's really interesting, and I think people might have to look it up because it's very difficult to explain. But I find that, a lot of mums who are aware of it, they come in with newborn babies and they get to have a baby that feeds better, that sleeps better, and is generally calmer through treatments.
Okay, we have another caller. Hello, good evening, and welcome to the program.
Yeah, good evening. I would like to ask the doctor. Yeah, good evening.
Good evening.
I would like to ask the doctor if there is a treatment for curved spine.
Yeah, if you mean a curved spine as in a scoliosis, definitely. We see many of those on a daily basis. I'm not going to tell you that the spine is going to be completely straight, but the issues you feel, sometimes people with a scoliosis, they end up having pain into the muscles, pain into the vertebrae, pain into the ligaments. Sometimes the extremities can become involved as well. So some of the tingling I spoke about, and definitely a lot of people with a curved spine tend to have headaches or even abdominal issues. So having problems with urinating or passing stools can be an issue. So those are the things that we try to tackle, but each individual is completely different. And your need might be completely different to somebody else, but we can definitely reduce symptoms and make you feel so much more comfortable.
Okay. It is Doctor and Call right here on K105 and also on GBN television. And this evening we're shining light on medical conditions related to the back. And it's also back awareness, a back care awareness week. We'll take a break and we will return with our discussion with Sonia Roberts right here on this evening's Doctor and Call.
How going on, boy?
Hey, good old things.
Hey, Daisy.
Yeah.
Boy, in line, boy. Your house looking a real good day.
Boy, it's thanks to the hard-working and professional staff at the Housing Authority of Grenada. They handled me real nice. They did my plan, they did the construction, and I didn't even have to worry about a thing. They were there with me every step of the way, supervising the job, asking me about my concerns, giving me feedback as the house took shape. They were there from start to finish, and even put the keys in the palm of my hand. I give them an A++ for customer service.
Oh, it's people from housing bad, boy.
Boy, not bad. Excellent. If you're thinking about constructing your home, why not consult the Housing Authority of Grenada? You could visit them right down in the Sandino complex or give them a call, 440-1015 or 440-1016. Or check out their website, hag473.com. They go handle you. They go jog your blocks, they go draw your plan, they go tote your materials. Hey man, where you going? The Housing Authority of Grenada is your choice for affordable housing and a stress-free construction experience.
It's new, innovative and classy, and a cut above the rest. Your one-stop shop for bathtubs, kitchenette, customized doors and windows, and even a new paint job. We also sell quartz and solid surface countertops. At M&N Hardware, we offer best prices, excellent service, efficiency, and reliability. Visit us at Dusty Highway, Grandin, St. George, or call telephone number 440-6757. M&N Hardware, from foundation to roof. Let's build together.
Hills and Valley Med Care Center, located on Grenville Street, St. George's, has a highly professional team that gives excellent service in massage therapy, physiotherapy, speech therapy, medical consultation, and more. Hills and Valley Med Care Center sells a wide range of medical supplies, offers home visits for patients in Grenada and Carrier Crew, and opens Monday to Saturday, 10 a.m. through to 7 p.m. Visit or call Hills and Valley Med Care Center today, 435-6904.
You're already ill and have no time or energy to walk every which way to access your healthcare needs. So come to Spice Isle Imaging on the Carenage for a one-spot stop for all your health service needs. See our in-house doctor and get your meds from the pharmacy right on location. Digital X-ray, MRI, CT scans, mammography, ultrasound, and laboratory services are also available. So for that moment when life makes demands on you, you can make demands on us. Visit us at Spice Isle Imaging, Carenage, St. George's. And we're back with Dr. and Call here on GBN TV and also on K105. And we're here with osteopath Sonia Roberts. And before the break, you spoke a little bit on the therapy, and that can be extended to a couple of weeks. And let's say that you have a series of therapy. What happens then? Can you expect healing, complete healing, or this is something that you would have to do going forward for maybe the rest of your life?
It depends, again, on the individual, and it depends on their circumstances. There's definitely people that will be moving forward, will probably need a couple of treatments a few times a year just to maintain, especially if they were born with an issue like a scoliotic pattern, or if they've had a nasty trauma in the past. Definitely there are some people that will probably need to maintain for the rest of their lives. I would say on average, I say that most people probably need 6. So if they came in, they tripped, they fell, they know they hurt themselves, that's something that I can probably work on more swiftly. And I've actually had a young lady with a condition they call fibromyalgia. I've been seeing her for the past 3 years now. Initially, I used to see her weekly. Now I see her maybe once every couple of months now. So definitely, you will definitely see improvement. But in order to maintain the body, it is wise to continue doing something, even if it's bi-monthly or bi-yearly, you know, at least have 1 or 2 a year. Because like I said, it's not just curative, it's preventative as well. But you can definitely make it affordable by taking care of your own body, knowing when things aren't right, and seeking the help and the care early on.
Okay.
So, yeah.
It is Dr. and Call. We have another caller on the line. Hello and good evening. Welcome to the program.
Yeah, good evening. Can I have the doctor's office number, please?
Yeah, it's 414-6788. 414-6788.
And you're located at where?
In Westerhall on the main road, very close to Ruby's gas station.
Opposite the gas station?
Yes.
Right, 414-6788.
That's correct.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you very much, caller. And as one caller pointed out, there seem to be many people in Grenada suffering from back pain. The majority, though, what is common? Is it because of physical injury, maybe on the job, or it can be some other medical issue?
I think so far I'm seeing physical injury, so being on the job, having a poor posture to begin with. I remember seeing a young lady a couple of years ago who she had a scoliosis to begin with, but her work environment was not correct. So her table and her chair, they were just slightly out of reach for her. So she had a couple of alignments with me, and then I wrote a letter to her office and asked if they could get her a chair with good back support, and that she would have a computer, everything directly in front of her. And it went away. I was even shocked knowing the condition she came in with and how quickly it was resolved. But definitely, I think just having a poor posture and just allowing your work life or your home life to feed into it. Now, some people might sit on a sofa, but their TV's to the right. So they sit all night rotated this way. This will make these muscles shorten. And all of a sudden you realize as you get older, you're no longer rotating, you're turning your whole body to meet the need of that neck and shoulder. So definitely posture is key, and that's why I said it's so important to do exercise, and definitely to start our children off right with either swimming, gymnastics or dance, so they grow with a nice frame and a nice posture.
So sometimes it's as simple as rearranging your setting, the way you watch television, the way you operate at your desk, using the computer. Sometimes it's as simple as that, and that can solve the problem.
Yeah, the majority of us, like even now, my computer is on the table, but I should have it elevated to this height. And I should be able to type very comfortably if I'm using the keyboard without having to lean forward. I should be able to sit upright, again, with the rolled towel perched in my back, and I should be able to type very comfortably. If the majority of people did that today, they would find it very uncomfortable because already they've developed the wrong muscles and they haven't used the right muscles. So it's going to be a learning process. We actually have to relearn how to sit, how to walk, and how to, how to stand as well. We have to relearn those things because we've already developed such bad habits.
Do you see injuries in people who are in the medical field, like nurses and people who care for elderly people? Do you see that often?
I see it so much. And the thing is, because you care for others, you forget yourself. Even osteopaths, chiropractors, massage therapists, sometimes we develop bad posture and the wrong posture as well, because you're so focused on helping somebody else that you forget what you're supposed to be doing yourself. So definitely I see a lot of nurses, and it's sad to see as well because they really do put themselves last. When they come in, it's because they're beyond, like the pain is just too much. And then sometimes it can take several, 8, 9, 10 treatments to get them where they need to be because they've left it for years. They've just learned to work through the pain. So definitely I see that a lot.
Okay. Well, we're getting ready to wrap up the program, and is there anything that you'd like to add at this time? Maybe a reminder, too, of how people should go about operating and taking care of themselves, taking care of the back, preventative measures that they can take to make sure that they stay healthy and pain-free.
Mm-hmm. I would say, first of all, start off with a good posture. So making sure that you're sitting, in alignment. So if you are watching TV, that's your thing to do. Make sure it's directly in front of you so you don't have to rotate. When you're at work, make sure your computer's in front of you. If you have to turn to use your phone, turn your whole body and not just rotate, because again, I see a lot of problems with people who just rotate towards things and don't move their whole body, so then they get little lesions and little issues into the spine, which could have been prevented by just moving the whole body. I would say watch your diet. Try not to have too much processed food because the body doesn't know how to get rid of processed. The body knows how to get rid of natural. And I would say gentle and very light exercise, even if it's something you make up yourself, where it's just standing up in the morning, touching your toes, maybe every day try to go a little bit further. Don't try to use force, just use gravity naturally, or lying on your bed, bringing your knees to your chest so you can cradle your knees and open up your lower back. Make sure you change your mattress every 8 years if that's a possibility. And just take care of yourself, There are massage therapists out there who know the body well, and it can be expensive, but it's your health. I mean, what price do you put on your health? If you can get one massage, maybe every 2 months or every 3 months, that might be all your body needs. But you need to start with self-care and just thinking about what you need. The minute you feel a pain, start working on it with maybe some stretches yourself, and maybe call someone, find out what it could be. And if it's something very simple, that's great. If it's something that's going to be long-term, even better, because you're going to get the help early. And so you can be pain-free as soon as possible.
Is there a possibility that massage therapy can actually worsen the situation?
I work with some massage therapists and I have taught them really well. Part of being an osteopath is to know anatomy, physiology and pathology. So the ladies I work with, they know it very well. Massage therapists who are trained correctly, they normally stay away from the spine. And they should know to work very conservatively, because they're not going to have all the medical knowledge. But as long as they work very conservatively and they do the most gentle form of massage, it can stimulate the lymphatics, and the lymphatics is what carries the lactic acid and the waste products of the body away from the body. It pumps it out, so it becomes sweat or urine, or, it just pumps back into the heart. So anyone who is qualified should know to stay away from the spine and just to work very gently with somebody. And they can normally get people out of pain as well. But phone around, get advice from friends, because I'm sure friends may have been to someone who they like, and you can try that person, word of mouth, because if someone's good, people are going to be talking and they're going to know about them.
Okay, so you refer sometimes, according to the situation, the condition, you would refer that patient to a specialist.
Yeah.
It happens the other way around for you, or is it common for you for a specialist to recommend a patient see you for therapy?
Yeah, I have several doctors now who send their clients to me if it's a musculoskeletal issue. I think in the beginning they weren't too aware of what osteopathy was, because it's not that common in the Caribbean. I think I know of maybe several between Trinidad, Barbados and Grenada. Maybe there's one in St. Lucia. So it wasn't very common. I think people are aware of chiropractors, which is very similar. So I think doctors who are aware of chiropractors would refer. But I think as word of mouth began to spread, some of the doctors came and saw me as well themselves. And I think it was the proof of pudding was in the eating. So once they came and saw what it was I could do, they've now begun to refer to me as well. So yeah, it works both ways. They refer to me and I refer back to them, depending on the patient's needs.
Okay. Sonia Roberts, thank you so much for sharing this information with us. Very valuable information. And you taught us a whole lot there about osteopathy. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on the show. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. And we've been talking there to Sonia Roberts, who is an osteopath. And as I said before, we're very grateful for the information on back care. And remember, too, that this week is Back Care Awareness Week. Thank you so much for joining us here on Doctor on Call. Until next time, I am Joseph McKee-Smith. Have a good night.